You already know what a dog looks like. You've lived with one. Or your neighbor has one. Or you pass one every morning on your commute, and it wags its tail at you through a fence. You think you understand them. Loyal, loving, man's best friend for 10,000 years. That familiarity is exactly what makes them so dangerous. Because here is what most people are never told. The animal sleeping at the foot of your bed is not a domesticated creature in the way you believe domestication works. It is a wolf with 10,000 years of behavioral modification layered on top of a predatory sequence that never fully switched off.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it right here.
Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it.
The image you carry in your head of a dog, gentle, eager to please, incapable of real harm, is one of the most pervasive and most expensive illusions in all of human civilization. And we built that illusion ourselves. We gave them names. We put them in holiday cards. We made them the most photographed subjects on the internet. We invited them into our beds, our kitchens, our hospitals. We dressed them in coats and called them family. And in doing so, we forgot what they were built to do. To understand the dog, you first have to understand what it actually is. The domestic dog, Canis familiaris, is not a separate species from the wolf. It is a subspecies, a wolf, selectively shaped over thousands of years of breeding. The genetic distance between a Labrador retriever and a gray wolf is remarkably small, smaller in some genomic comparisons than the variation found between human populations on different continents. What domestication did was not remove the predatory architecture. It couldn't. That architecture is load-bearing. What domestication did was suppress specific parts of the hunting sequence. The wolf's complete predatory sequence runs like this: search, orient, eye, stalk, chase, grab bite, kill bite, dissect, consume. Every step serves a purpose. Every step is connected to the one before it and the one after it. And every dog alive today still carries that entire sequence somewhere inside it. Selective breeding didn't delete the sequence. It paused it. Different breeds had different stages amplified or suppressed depending on what humans needed. The Border Collie has a powerful stalk and chase, but a softened kill bite because it was bred to gather livestock, not kill them. The Retriever was bred to grab and carry and release without damaging. The Terrier was bred to find, chase, and kill small animals with speed and precision. But here is the thing about suppressed instincts. They don't stay suppressed forever. Researchers call it predatory drift. It is the moment when a dog, mid-play, mid-interaction, for reasons that are still not fully understood, crosses the threshold from social behavior into the predatory sequence. Not aggression, not fear, not a warning that any human observer could reliably read. The sequence just activates. Scientists note that predatory behavior is fundamentally different from aggressive behavior in one critical way. Aggressive behavior is designed to increase distance. It warns, it postures, it growls, it gives the target a chance to leave. Every training manual ever written about dog safety is built around aggressive behavior. The raised hackles, the stiff tail, the hard stare. These are signals we have learned to read and respond to. Predatory behavior decreases distance. It moves toward, silently, without the display, without the warning, without any of the signals we were taught to watch for. A dog engaged in predatory drift does not growl. It does not bark. It does not posture. It just closes the gap. The trigger can be movement. A child running across a yard, a person stumbling and falling, an animal crossing a threshold. Researchers have documented cases where two dogs that had lived together peacefully for years, same household, no prior incidents, transitioned from play into a lethal attack in seconds. No escalation, no warning, no behavioral cue that anyone present could identify in time. And the research on this is deeply uncomfortable, because the limited studies that exist on predatory drift suggest that any dog carries the capacity for it. Dogs that have never shown a moment of aggression. Dogs that are, by every measure their owners can apply, safe and gentle and completely trustworthy. The predatory sequence in a wolf exists to feed the animal. In a domestic dog, it can activate in response to movement, to sound, to the particular way a small child moves across a room, to something we still cannot fully predict or explain. We suppressed the instinct. We did not remove it. And there is no behavioral test, no assessment, no amount of training or years of quiet coexistence that can confirm with certainty whether the suppression holds. The numbers are not hidden. They are simply not talked about. In the United States alone, approximately 4.5 million people are bitten by dogs every year. Around 800,000 of those bites require medical treatment. Between 2010 and 2023, at least 593 people were killed by dogs in the United States. That is an average of more than 40 deaths every single year. In 2021 alone, the CDC recorded 81 deaths from dog attacks. 81 people in 1 year in one country. Globally, dogs kill approximately 35,000 humans annually. The majority of those deaths come from rabies transmission. But even setting rabies aside, even counting only the deaths that are purely mechanical, purely the result of a dog and a human body occupying the same space, dogs remain among the deadliest animals on the planet in terms of direct human mortality. More lethal in raw numbers than crocodiles, than hippos, than almost everything that appears in a wildlife documentary with a warning before it. The animal responsible for that is sleeping in someone's bedroom right now. The leading victims are not strangers. They are not intruders. They are not people who made a mistake around an unfamiliar animal. Children between the ages of 1 and 4 are the most frequent victims, accounting for nearly 30% of fatalities. Children under 17 account for more than half of all deaths in peak years. Think about what that means. The most dangerous scenario for a fatal dog attack is a child at home with the family dog, not a stray, not a guard dog that has shown aggression, not an animal that anyone saw coming. The family pet, the one with a name, the one in the photographs. Before we get to the cases, consider the body. The average domestic dog has a bite force between 150 and 300 pounds per square inch. A Rottweiler reaches 328 pounds per square inch. The human jaw produces about 150 pounds per square inch at maximum effort. Dog canine teeth are designed to puncture, grip, and tear, not the flat surfaces of an herbivore, not even the relatively blunt dentition of a bear, but narrow, conical instruments built to penetrate tissue and hold. Dogs bred for specific working roles have been selected, across generations, for the physical capacity to perform those roles. Dogs bred to bring down livestock, dogs bred to hold intruders, dogs bred to pursue and stop animals that outweigh them by hundreds of kilograms. We look at a Labrador and we see a gentle family companion. And in nearly every encounter, across millions of interactions every day, that is exactly what it is. But the Labrador was bred from retrievers whose job was to carry dead animals in their mouths without damaging the meat. To do that job, they needed a controlled bite, and a powerful one. The gentleness in a Labrador's mouth is not the absence of force. It is trained restraint, applied on top of significant force. Every dog is that. Significant force under trained restraint. And trained restraint has limits we have never fully mapped. No case demonstrates what a dog actually is, beneath everything we have projected onto it, better than what happened in Fresno, California. On March 9th, 2013, A 2-year-old boy named Nefi Selu was inside his family's home. The family dog was a Canary Mastiff, a breed originally developed to control livestock and guard property. He was a family dog. He had lived in that home. He knew the child. Nefi's aunt found the boy unresponsive. The dog had killed him. This case is not unique. It is one among hundreds documented in the medical and legal record. What makes the full archive of these cases so difficult to absorb is not the violence itself. It is the consistency. The dog was known. The dog was familiar. The dog had no documented history of aggression. The victim was a child. The location was the family home. That is the profile of the majority of fatal dog attacks. Not the guard dog behind the fence. Not the stray on the street. The animal, sleeping on the couch. What makes this particularly difficult to reason about is the mechanism that produces it. Dogs do not attack because they are evil. They do not attack because they are broken or badly trained or poorly raised. They attack because under specific conditions, a sequence of behaviors that was never fully erased runs its course. The predatory sequence has no emotional component. There is no anger in it, no cruelty, no intent that maps onto anything we recognize as malice. Researchers who study canine behavior describe predatory behavior as marked by a distinct absence of affective arousal, meaning the animal is not distressed, not threatened, not reacting to any social conflict at all. It is simply doing what its nervous system was built to do, in a context where that behavior was never supposed to occur. The wolf that preceded the dog had a reason for that sequence. The reason was survival. 10,000 years of domestication gave us an animal that no longer needs to hunt to eat, but still carries every neurological instruction for how to do it. And here is what makes that genuinely terrifying. We have spent 10,000 years trying to shape it out of them, selecting for gentleness, selecting for social responsiveness, breeding against the parts that frighten us. And the sequence is still there. In every dog, in every breed, in the ones with the softest reputations and the longest histories of living peacefully beside us. The predatory drift research points in one consistent direction across independent studies. No dog can be fully exempted. Not most dogs. Not certain breeds. Not dogs with a specific history of aggression. No dog can be fully exempted. We spend $150 billion on pets annually in the United States alone. More than half of American households own a dog. Dog insurance claim payouts for bite injuries reached $1.57 billion in a single year, with an average payout per claim of over $69,000. That last number is not a legal statistic, it is a medical one. $69,000 is the average cost of what a dog bite does to a human body. The injuries documented in bite fatality cases are not clean. They are not simple. Forensic pathologists who study these cases describe wound patterns consistent with the grab bite and kill bite phases of the predatory sequence. Deep punctures, avulsion injuries where tissue is torn away from the underlying structure, evidence of the shaking behavior used to incapacitate prey, the same mechanics a wolf uses in a hunt, expressed by an animal that 5 minutes earlier was lying on a rug in a living room. This is not a condemnation of dogs. That is not the point of any of this. The point is something more uncomfortable than a condemnation. We created this animal. We shaped every part of it through thousands of years of deliberate selection. We took a predator and modified it, carefully, generationally, with extraordinary patience and skill. We amplified the traits that served us, loyalty, attunement, gentleness, and suppressed the ones that frightened us. And then we placed the result inside our homes, next to our children, in our beds. And we told ourselves the story we needed to hear in order to feel comfortable with that decision. Dogs are not dangerous the way a lion is dangerous, not the way a crocodile is dangerous, overtly, legibly, something you can prepare for because its threat is obvious from a distance. Dogs are dangerous in a way that is unique to our relationship with them. Intimate, invisible, built on a foundation of trust that is real and mutual, and occasionally, without warning or explanation. Not enough. The wolf did not find us. We went looking for it. We brought it inside. We named it. We loved it. We changed it as much as any domestication process has ever changed any animal. And it still isn't entirely what we wanted it to be. Somewhere inside every dog that has ever pressed its head against your hand, or slept at the foot of your bed, or looked up at you with an expression that feels completely and undeniably like love. That sequence is still there. Patient, dormant, waiting for a reason it will never be able to explain.